When you think of the word hero, you may think of a few characters, such as Luke Skywalker, Goku from Dragon Ball, or perhaps, if you're too young to have grown up in the 1970s, Iron Man or Captain America. Plenty of 90s kids will think of characters from their favorite cartoons and comics, like Sonic the Hedgehog, Wolverine, or Batman. But most people can agree that when you think of the word hero, one image prevails in the backs of all of our minds: Superman. So in this video, we're gonna fly down memory lane for Superman 1980 versus 2021, the cast, then and now. All you have to do is click the thumbs up and subscribe buttons and ring that notification bell. Superman on the silver screen. Since 1938, Superman has been the gold standard of superhero morality figures, inspiring generations of children to fight for truth and justice. His iconic underpants over pants, red, blue, and yellow suit, and the symbol that isn't actually an S, but the Kryptonian symbol for hope, are burned into the minds of any child who has ever seen him in any capacity. The character has certainly moved with the times, adding the American way to his list of things to fight for during the Second World War. By the 1970s, as America was waking up from its tumultuous decade of political turmoil, Richard Donner's 1978 Superman the movie would add more humanity to the God Among Men by casting Christopher Reeve in the role. Reeve would add more than just stature to the character, and become one of the most iconic visages of the hero there has ever been. In fact, many consider the Donner movies to be the only true adaptation of the character that has ever been produced as a film. In 1980, Donner would follow up the hit that was Superman the movie with the equally iconic Superman 2. This brought a slightly wackier vibe than the original and featured a perplexing storyline where Clark Kent must reveal to the increasingly inquisitive Lois Lane that he is in fact Superman. But what about the many other characters from the Donner iteration of the Superman universe? How have they fared since their involvement in the iconic franchise? Let's take a look at the many cast members from the 1980 movies and see what they're up to now. Terrence Stamp as General Zod. One of the major characters in the Superman universe is General Zod, the Kryptonian supervillain that follows the archetypal comic book pattern of a villain having the same set of abilities as the hero, except for being theoretically stronger. This archetype forces the hero to step up their game when faced with an opponent who has all the same advantages they do and more. Disgraced as Krypton's military general for insurrection and banished to the Phantom Zone in the beginning of Superman the movie until Superman 2, Zod remains one of Superman's greatest foes, and he was portrayed in the 1980s Superman 2 by Terrence Stamp, and his performance is rated by Wizard Magazine as the 58th greatest villain of all time. Stamp is now 82 years old, so his career is largely behind him, but he is still around and still remembered for his intense performance as the evil general. Gene Hackman as Lex Luthor. But in the pantheon of Superman villains, Zod will always rank beneath the all-time number one, and that is, of course, Lex Luthor, the billionaire business mogul obsessed with ridding the world of the threat of Superman, while envying Superman's popularity and influence. While Hackman's portrayal of Luthor was played more for laughs than other far more sinister iterations, his charisma and acting chops more than made up for his convoluted plan in Superman 1. Luthor has also been known to team with Superman against worse foes, and that's exactly what happens in Superman 2, when Luthor, trying to use Zod against Superman, ends up being used and abused by Zod instead, and works with Superman against the invading general. Of course, he still betrays Superman again, but that's just par for the course. Hackman is an Academy Award-winning actor, with an illustrious career behind him now at the age of 91. Valerie Perrin as Tessmacher. Luthor, of course, would be nothing without his assistants, though in the movies, his cronies are played for laughs and sex appeal. As the man himself asks, why is the greatest criminal mind of our time surrounding himself with total nincompoops? Even Tessmacher is one of these apparent nincompoops, though she is much more capable than it appears at first. She is there mostly for Lex's eye candy, though her earnest portrayal by actress and model Valerie Perrin made her a standout in the Donner movies, beyond just how she looks in that red dress. At the age of 77, she is currently the subject of an upcoming documentary about her life, simply entitled Valerie. Ned Beatty as Otis. Luthor's other sidekick, somewhat inexplicably, is the bumbling and barely capable Otis. Now we're getting into nincompoop territory, as Otis manages to almost screw up Luthor's nuclear real estate plans totally in Superman 1 on a couple of occasions. And yet, for some reason, Luthor keeps him around. He has a diminished role in Superman 2, probably as there is limited screen time for bumbling sidekicks. What with the addition of a trio of Kryptonian supervillains to the mix, but Otis remains a memorable character, most likely thanks to his hilarious performance by veteran actor of over 160 films, Ned Beatty. He probably gets more respect now at 83 than Otis ever did. Jack O'Halloran as Non. Another character that many remember from Superman 2 is that of Non, the Kryptonian criminal mute who may be even stronger than Superman himself, but sadly lacks the mind function to articulate himself in any way beyond guttural growls and grunts. He is a hulking great man with the innocent curiosity of a child, unlike his portrayer, ex-boxer Irish Jack O'Halloran. The 6' 5" O'Halloran was undefeated in his first 16 fights and narrowly missed out on a match against Muhammad Ali when he was knocked out by Jimmy Somerville. His portrayal of Non makes him a very memorable fixture of the Donnerverse, and while he's probably shrunk a little at the age of 78, O'Halloran is still around and still an imposing figure. Sarah Douglas as Ursa. Rounding out the trio of Kryptonian supervillains is Ursa, the superhuman woman who conspires for insurrection with General Zod. She is a force to be reckoned with, and has a wicked streak, enjoying the pain and suffering of the innocent. She was capably played by Sarah Douglas, who has continued to work in genre movies and sci-fi until today. At the age of 68, she is still to date active and known for many roles, including later roles in other DC properties, such as Supergirl. Margot Kidder as Lois Lane. Now, of course, there are more than just villains in the Superman universe. There's also Superman's primary love interest, Lois Lane. Many have played the role of the intrepid and flirtatious reporter who steals Clark Kent's heart. But perhaps the most iconic of them all is Canadian-American actress Margot Kidder's intense and screamy portrayal of the character in the Donner movies. Kidder, an award-winning actress, sadly passed away in 2018 after a string of personal problems stemming from bipolar disorder that led to her overdosing on various substances. Mark Mcclure as Jimmy Olsen. Another on the roster of good guys is Jimmy Olsen, the young photojournalist who is close friends with both Lois Lane and Clark Kent. Olsen is portrayed in Superman and Superman 2 by Mark Mcclure, managing to portray both Olsen's capabilities and intelligence, but also his naivete and immaturity. Being just 23 years old when he played Olsen in Superman 2, Mcclure is now 64 years old, and has had several roles, even appearing in both versions of Justice League as Officer Ben Sadowski. He also played Marty McFly's big brother Dave in the Back to the Future movies. Jackie Cooper as Perry White. Rounding out the side characters is Perry White, the driven and domineering editor of the Daily Planet, the publication for which Lane, Kent, and Olsen work. Portrayed by Jackie Cooper, White is shown to be highly capable as the boss of the newspaper, though for all his journalistic talent and ability, he is totally oblivious to the events happening within and around his office that would probably make the biggest news the world has ever seen. Cooper, active since the 1930s, would retire from acting in 1989, and passed away from natural causes in 2011 with a slew of iconic roles behind him. Christopher Reeve as Clark Kent. But what about the man himself? Christopher Reeve portrayed the titular hero of Clark Kent and Superman himself, being an actor capable of portraying both a dominant, confident, and masculine hero with a heart of gold, and a clumsy, uncoordinated bungler in Kent. Very few actors have portrayed the role in such earnest. And Reeve is still considered by many to be the one true Superman without equal. Sadly, a life of suffering from health conditions held his career, and he turned more to activism. He suffered from alopecia for most of his life, but in 1995, he fell from a horse and landed horribly, shattering his first and second vertebrae. He lived the rest of his life paralyzed and finally passed away in 2004 at the young age of just 52. What a terrible fate for someone who had portrayed the Man of Steel. But he will always be remembered as the hero of many a kid in the 80s. So there you go. That's what happened to the cast of Superman 2. Did you enjoy it? Please leave a like if you did, and don't forget to comment. Remember to please subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to stay aware of all our future content. And thanks very much for watching. See you all next time.